Okay guys, so this is my final long format what sold video, and it's caught up to current day. So this is up until my very last what sold video, which I just put out a couple days ago. So these are all Q4 sales from this year. So these are all items that are selling on eBay right now. Now I will be putting out a video tomorrow. It's going to cover everything that I picked up on my way to Cleveland, on my way home, plus the perfumes. I've already sold 4 of them, and I think I'm going to make quite a bit of money off of this trip. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to go through every single item that I picked up. But I am currently at my parents' house making cookies, so I have to get back upstairs. So I'm going to go ahead and start the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you on my video tomorrow. I paid $6 for this commercial Vitamix blender, and it sold for $269.99 plus $55 in shipping. And this one took about 5 weeks to sell. I paid $30 for a laundry basket full of toys, and this Rainbow Bright doll sold for $80 plus shipping. Her boots are really rare, so that's why she fetched so much money. In that same laundry basket, I found all of these gem dolls. These sold overnight for $94 plus shipping. These ones went to an international buyer. These used Avon brushes are all profit, and I took an offer on these ones for $28 plus shipping. These ones took 2 weeks to sell. These Tupperware measuring spoons are always a fast sale. I paid 50 cents for these, and they sold overnight for $13.49 plus shipping. I paid $1.25 for this Henry Bendel home fragrance, and it sold for $26.99 plus shipping, and this one took about 5 weeks to sell. I picked this item up. This Francis Denny cologne sold for $175 plus shipping. I purchased a huge cologne buyout about 3 months ago, so this one is all profit. Took 3 months to sell. This Sony portable CD player with the dock sold for $59.99 plus shipping. I paid $5 for this at an estate sale 3 months ago. This portable piece snaps into the dock, and I did test this at the estate sale. It took about 3 weeks for this Ozzy Osbourne CD to sell. I paid $1 for this at an estate sale, and it sold for $29.99 plus shipping. I bought 3 of these soccer balls about a year ago, and ironically, I have sold all 3 of these in the last month and a half. This one sold for $30 plus shipping. I paid $5. I paid $2 for this game about 3 weeks ago, and it sold for $20 plus shipping. This was a really quick seller. I picked this up at TJ Maxx for $3, and it sold for $9. This was only about a $4 profit, but it was really fast money. I paid $37.50 for this Department 56 St. Paul Cathedral. This one only took about a week to sell, and it sold for $125 plus shipping. This face exerciser sold for $55 plus shipping. This took about 10 days to sell. Came from an estate sale where I paid $30 for a huge lot of items. This Norel perfume sold for $45 plus shipping on Etsy. This came from a big perfume buyout, and it took about 3 months to sell. This one is all profit. I paid $5 for this ceramic Christmas tree about 6 months ago, and it sold for $50 plus shipping on eBay. 2 weeks ago, I paid $100 for an entire nativity scene, and this lamb blow mold sold for $38 plus shipping, and this baby Jesus Empire blow mold sold for $32 plus shipping. I still have Mary, Joseph, and the Shepherd left to sell. This Avon face cream from 1992 sold within 48 hours. I paid $0.25, and it sold for $14.99 plus shipping. I've already made over $200 from my Hoarder estate sale haul. That's where this candle came from. It sold for $30. I bought a large lot of Just for Men for $4.99, and this one sold for $24.99 plus shipping. It took about a month and a half to sell. These 3 packs of Downy sold for $89.97. I paid $9.99 for these, and they took about 6 weeks to sell. With shipping and sales tax, my buyer paid $115.70. I paid $10 for this Zap. It sold overnight for $54.99. With taxes and shipping, my buyer was all in $71.21. I paid $6 total for both of these boxes of Sterilid, and they sold for $84.99. These took 2 days to sell. My buyer was all in $96.29 for these. I paid $3.99 for this perfume about 4 months ago. It sold on Mercari for $84.99. Buyers pay all fees on Mercari. My buyer was all in $110 for this one. I paid $2 for this pack of Kool-Aid. It took about 3 weeks to sell. It sold for $23.99, but my buyer paid $34.81 altogether. I paid $1.50 for this speed ruler at an estate sale about 2 months ago. It sold for $49.99, but my buyer was all in $59.49 $22.49. These two American Crew colognes sold for $124.99. I paid $4 each for these. Both of these are brand new, and they took just over a month to sell. This Crabtree and Evelyn set sold for $30 plus shipping. I paid $2 for this set at an estate sale 2 weeks ago. I paid $34 for these 3 mop refills, and they sold for $75 plus shipping overnight. These are the Jumbo Quickie Clean Squeeze mop refills. I paid $2.99 for this lip gloss set. There were no comps when I picked it up. I priced it at $22.99 and it sold within 3 weeks of listing. It took about 3 months for this set to sell on Mercari. It sold for $31.35 and it included this Lancome lotion and this little Lancome mini perfume. Both of these were brand new. Their all profit came from a big perfume lot I picked up. It took about 2 weeks for this Cutco knife to sell. I paid $150 for an entire block. I'm all in the profit. This knife sold for $30. And I still have 6 knives left to sell from the block I picked up. This antique coffee maker sold for $85 plus shipping. I paid $20 for this and it took about 3.5 weeks to sell. I did test this and it's in full working condition. I paid $20 for this Conair spa mat about 2.5 months ago and it sold for $69 plus shipping. These swaps sold for $36 plus shipping. These are all profit. I picked these up at a hoarder estate sale about a month ago. I also sold this pack of Max Factor makeup sponges. I paid 50 cents for these and they sold for $12.99 plus shipping. These ones probably took about 6 months to sell. I picked up a handful of vintage hats at an estate sale. I paid $5 a piece for them and these are my last 2 left. I'm all in the profit on these hats, and this vintage Kentucky hat sold for $33 plus shipping. I took an offer of $33 plus shipping for this thigh and butt master. These ones took about 2 months to sell, and I paid $6. I paid $1 for this 1965 vintage Playboy magazine, and it sold for $16.99, and it took about 6 weeks to sell. I paid $14.99 for this bag of flatware 9 months ago, and it finally sold for $88 plus shipping. This was a sale through eBay's international shipping program, which means even though it's going overseas, I just have to ship it to the eBay hub here in the States. I paid $10 for this set of flatware. This one only took 3 weeks to sell, and it sold for $139 plus shipping. I paid $15 for this Victoria's Secret perfume 2.5 months ago at a thrift store, and it sold for $50 plus shipping. This Avon Samantha and Sam, I sold them as a lot. I paid $4 for both of them, and they sold for $40 plus shipping. These ones kind of had a little bit of staining and damage. They sold within 4 days of listing. I paid $4.99 for this Mr. Christmas musical box, and it sold for $24.99 plus shipping. This one took 3 weeks to sell. I paid $0.25 for this Shark cookie jar, and he took 3 months to sell for $34. This Ralph Lauren cologne sold for $40 plus shipping. This took about 2 days to sell. I paid $4 for this at an estate sale. This perfume was part of a big buyout that I purchased for a little under $300. I'm all in the profit. This one sold for $68 plus shipping in about 4 months. I'm also all in the profit on all of this lipstick. This came from an estate sale I went to probably about 5 months ago now. I paid $4 and this lipstick sold for $45 plus shipping. This is a discontinued Revlon lipstick. This Chanel lotion also came from that big buyout, and this one sold on Mercari for $37. I paid $3 for a vintage McDonald's drive-thru, and I've parted it out, made more than my money back. This piece took 4 months to sell, and it sold for $32 on Bonanza. I paid 50 cents for this Estee Lauder eyeshadow at an estate sale about 3 months ago, and this sold on Poshmark for $13 plus shipping. This one sold within 1 day of cross-listing. I paid $8.50 for this vintage Quick Curl Kelly, and she sold for $50 plus shipping on Mercari 1 day after cross-listing. This is the 5th pack of Kool-Aid I've sold. This one sold on Bonanza for $23 plus shipping, and it took a month to sell. I paid $0.25 for this comb, and it took 3 weeks to sell. It sold on Bonanza for $13 plus shipping. I buy these reproduction Barbies new in the box, and I end up parting them out. I sold this Barbie for $23 plus shipping. She took 6 weeks to sell. I paid $5 for the entire box, and I sold her clothing for $22 last month. I'm I'm all in the profit on this blanket. It took 3 weeks to sell. It sold for $34.99. I picked this up at an estate sale where I bought a big bag full of stuff for $20. This Helen of Troy blow dry brush took a week and a half to sell. It sold for $33.99 plus shipping. I paid $2.99 for this. I paid $5 for this vintage toaster oven and it sold for $100, and I paid $9 for this vintage Sunbeam and it sold for $90 plus shipping. I picked both of these up at the thrift store and they took less than 48 hours to sell. This bottle of Estee Lauder Intuition sold for $100 plus shipping. I paid $12.99 for this about a month and a half ago. This bottle of Estee Lauder Beyond Paradise sold for $111 plus shipping. I paid $20 for this at an estate sale about a month ago. This bottle of Royal Secret sold for $43 on Mercari. This one took 4 months to sell, but it's all profit. It came from a large perfume buyout. This set of Avon Mesmerize sold for $17 plus shipping on Mercari. This one took about a month to sell. This Suzanne Summers Face Master sold for $40 plus shipping. I paid $5 for this and it took about 2 weeks to sell. I paid $1 for this Santa at the bins about a year and a half ago. He finally sold. I took an offer of $18 plus shipping. I paid $4 each for these mop refills and they sold for $40 plus shipping on eBay. They took about 2.5 weeks to sell. I didn't even realize I still had this item, or it probably would have ended up in my garage sale this summer. I paid $1 and it sold for $30 in a little over 2 years. This is my 6th box of Kool-Aid that I've sold. This one sold for $22 plus shipping. I paid $2 for this and I started selling these at the end of October. I've already made my money back on this $43 bag of flatware, and this ladle sold for $26 plus shipping. This took 7 months to sell. This is a really slow moving pattern. I paid $2 for this Clinique set. It was supposed to be in my Whatnot auction tonight, but it sold on Etsy for $34 plus shipping. This bottle of 1991 VO5 sold for $18 plus shipping. This is all profit and this one took about 3.5 weeks to sell. I paid 50 cents for this bottle of drain cleaner at an estate sale a couple months ago and it sold for $28 plus shipping on eBay. This bottle of Charles of the Ritz is 100% profit. It's brand new in the box and it sold for $292 plus shipping. This took about 4 months to sell and this is 100% profit after fees. This was part of a big perfume auction I had won. These 4 mop refills sold for $84.99 plus $11 in shipping. These took about 2 weeks to sell. These were $7 each before tax, so I paid around $30 for all of them. I paid $15 for a laundry basket full of toys. I'm all in the profit. This one sold for $84.99 plus shipping, even with a chewed up foot. This Hulk is from 1978 and he took about 6 weeks to sell. After taxes and shipping, my buyer paid $104.95 total for him. This vintage Playtex bottle sold for $34.99. The flat top nipple is what makes this worth so much. I spent $10 at an estate sale on a bag full of items. These candles were in that bag. They sold for $12.75 in less than 4 days. I paid $9 for this inflatable and it sold overnight for $45, plus I charged $20 flat rate shipping. I took a lower offer on these 3 pumpkin heads. They sold for $24.99 plus $13 in shipping, and since we're pretty far past Halloween, I was happy to see them These Christmas bells sold overnight. I paid $6 for them and they sold for $50.99. These Christmas bells also sold overnight. I paid $8.99 for these ones and they sold for $40.